Ano man ang sumbong na dala, basta alam niyang tama kay makakasama mo siya. Di ka iiwanan, sigurado ko yun, sa Rapi Tulfo in action.
Ood ngayong linggo ng gabi sa 1PH.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dean Mel Santa Maria.
En la alma solo tengo soledad y si ya no puedo verte, porque Dios me hizo quererte para hacerme sufrir más. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ako po ang inyong lingkod, Dean Mel Santa Maria, at nanonood po kayo sa The Dean Mel Show. Samahan niyo po kami sa isang oras na solve na kwentuhan. Nakikita po tayo sa Signal Cable Channel 1PH at saka po sa YouTube at Facebook channel ng 1PH at sa Radyo 5 92.3 News FM. Napapanood at napapakinggan sa telebisyon at saka po sa radyo. Ngayong gabi, it will be a super duper show sapagkat po ang ating panauhin is a Philippine treasure. Napakinggan nyo ba yung aking kinanta? Naku po, kung mapapakinggan nyo siya, talagang matutunaw kayo sa galak at sa tuwa sapagkat po siya ang talagang pioneering singer na pinasikat ang artista na mga singers na Pilipino. Siya po ay tanyag na tanyag. Sa Australia, meron pa nga pong kalye na pinangalan after her because nga talagang may impact ang Australia sa Australia at saka po sa Europe, sa Riviera. Talagang doon siya kumakanta noon. At sa Tokyo, diyan rin po at syempre dito sa atin. Siya po talaga ang revolutionary origin ng mga Philippine songs na taging tanyag sa buong mundo. Hands down. Hands down po. Kaya nga po nasabi ko, siya isang Philippine treasure. Hindi lang po yan. And in the process of her singing, siya po ay nagtataguyod ng ating kultura at tradisyon sa mga sinusuot niyang mga Filipino dresses at saka po bagamat siya ay, well, tisay na tisay, Pinay na Pinay po sapagkat hindi lang siya nagtatagalog, Cebuana po siya. At ang kinakanta niya, English, Filipino, Spanish, Cebuano. At saka kaya nga ating siyang kakamustahin ngayon. Walang iba kundi ang ating special guest, si Miss Pilita Corrales. Huwag po kayong aalis mga kapatid, mga kaibigan, at kakausapin na natin siya dito sa The Dean Mel Show. Sandali lang po. Nagbabalik po kami dito sa ating The Dean Mel Show at wag na po tayong patumpik-tumpik pa sapagkat itong guest natin baw tayo lahat dito. Special guest natin, si Miss Pilita Corrales. Good evening!
Thank you, thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Dean. Thank you for inviting me.
Kamusta po kayo sa pandemic ngayon? How are you doing? How are you adapting to the
Pandemic.
situation?
Oo.
Kamusta kayo?
Actually, I just don't feel the pandemic.
Really?
I make myself busy so I don't think about it.
Ganun ba?
Pero,
Okay.
even kasi if we're pandemic, I still continue taping. So, Parang hindi mo na-feel ba?
Ang galing nyo naman, as usual. Ma'am Pilita, we have as a
Yes,
start,
Pilita lang, please.
Pilita, as a starter, we
Yes.
have a dynamite question for you. We have a dynamite
Okay.
question. Ito, pasabog namin. Okay?
Pasabog.
Sabi ng madami, hands down, what can you say about this? You are the greatest ever Filipino singer of all time in terms of pioneering and showing off the Philippines. What can you say about that?
My God, that's too much, parang nagugulat naman ako. I don't think so. Maybe I just started earlier than many of the singers that came after, but, well, I did a lot of firsts because ako ang nauna. I came earlier in the show business. So, thank God I've been able to meet wonderful people and do wonderful shows all over the world. Yeah. Thank you.
What a journey. What a journey and what a career from that simple girl from Lahog, Cebu, going to the whole world. Minsan ba basta you think about it, kinikilabutan ka ba?
Hindi naman siguro. Ganun yun, naswerte lang. Naswertehan ako.
Ang humble nyo naman, ma'am. Naswertehan kayo. So, pero you've sung a lot of song, no? Ang dahil nyo pong kinanta. Ang tanong ko sa inyo ngayon what's the song that best represent you? What do you think is the song that best represent you?
Well, for the Philippines, of course, our Filipino music, because I was, when Boss Vic decided that, he said, I think we should record Tagalog songs. Because before, I don't know if you remember, nobody wanted to listen to a Filipino song. Everything was, how do you call this, yung mga adaptations that come from So, Boss Vic said, sige na nga, try nga natin yung isang album na Tagalog. So that's where came from, Kapantayan Langit, all those songs that was the very first album, and the people liked it naman, so at least okay. But yung first album were recorded in Australia.
Oh, in Australia. And what was that first album in Australia?
One album was the Story of Love and Come Closer to Me, first album. That's in Melbourne.
Okay.
So,
And that also became a hit. Kaya,
yeah.
and you had such an impact sa Australia that they put up a street in your name. Imagine that.
Yeah, I went there to take a picture. Oh, you got it.
Yes.
Yes. It's so wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so wonderful. And so many first, Pilita, no? So many first for you. Like, for example, your record, A Million Thanks to You, practically was the first who got millions of sales, no? And that's spectacular even at that time in terms of Philippine recordings.
Yes, because the lady who wrote the song wrote it for her son who had, he was, Cancer. He had cancer, yeah, the son. So while I was reading with Pilita, and then she said, kantahin mo na lang itong this song, for the son who was sick. And that started it also, A Million Thanks became A Million Thanks. She wrote that, thanking the Lord that the son got cured.
Oh, and the spectacular thing about that song is that not translate in so many languages. So many languages.
Yes, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recorded it in Tagalog, Bisaya, and English.
Yeah. In
And then I don't know, in Spanish, in many other.
Salamat sa gugma mo. Diba? In Bisaya.
I'm Bisaya, bitaw. Salamat sa gugma. Oh, you know it, huh?
And not only that, no, the way you perform is just again a first. Ano, previous to you, ang mga singers parang robot sila. You know, they try to move here and there, but very minimal. But and you reflect the song by that curve that became famous. How did you think of that? Or was that natural for you?
It was very natural for me because I found out after I started singing that if I bend left to the right, I could hit a higher note.
Oh,
That's
talaga.
why.
Oh,
So if I want to hit a higher note, I bend to the left.
okay. And when did
So,
that?
and it became na signature, yes.
Oh, signature. And when did that start? Do sa TV show mo? When that started in the TV?
Hindi, that started siguro when I was still, in the beginning, we all sang at the Opera House, in the Clover Theater, and everything, and I would be so shy. But anyway, when I started already in Your Evening with Pilita, yun na.
Okay. And people began impersonating you, and just too many people impersonating you. How did you take it? How did you take yung mga nag-impersonate sa'yo?
Naku, I loved it, When people try to imitate you and everything, that means to say they like you. I have so many. Everywhere I go when I travel, there's a Visayan singer that imitates me and everything. It's so wonderful. Wonderful. It's very nice. Diba? Na merong gumagaya sa'yo. Yes.
And from Australia to the Philippines, then you get to sing in Las Vegas and the Riviera. Pwede bang kwento mo sa amin? Like for example, in Las Vegas, how was it singing with, let's say, Sammy Davis? Iba nila.
Oh my goodness.
Iba ng level yun, ma'am. Iba ng level yun talaga.
Oo. I was his front act here at the Manila Hotel for two or three nights or something. And then one day he came to the backstage and then he said, I'd like to bring you to Las Vegas. He was going to start appearing in Caesar's Palace.
Oh, that's great.
And so, when they tell you that, you believe, okay, siguro hindi naman totoo. But it came true. After 1 month, they sent me my ticket to go and sing there with him at the Caesar's Palace for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks. And how does it feel? How does it feel when you're entering the stage for the very first time in Caesar's Palace?
I'm telling you, my knees were shaking. Because usually, okay lang ako. I know already how you feel when you get this butterflies in your stomach or something. But being there and being introduced by Sammy Davis, talaga naman, nanginig ako. And we were doing 2 shows a day. But he was so, and then he would talk about me. I found this girl in the Philippines, and she was singing. So I told her, I'll bring you to Las Vegas. Of course, nobody believes that. But it happened after about 2-3 weeks, So I was his front act at the Caesar's Palace.
Wow. Tell us about Sammy Davis. What kind of person is he? Talagang very accommodating siya. What kind of person was he? Si Sammy Davis.
Sammy Davis?
Yes.
Oh, he was fantastic. He would go to the dressing room, with his, because of his curly hair, he would wear something very tight to make the hair flat bago siya lumabas sa stage, So he would always go to the dressing room, which is it's not ordinary because he's the star of Las Vegas, the star of the show. But he was, what I always say, the more talent a person has, usually are very humble. And that's the way he was. He could sing, he could dance, he would go on stage, he'd play the drums, he will sing, and then he everything. He could do everything. So it was really a man with so much talent, such a nice person.
Yes, yes. And after that, you went to the Riviera. Di ba? The Riviera in
Yeah.
Europe. Wala nang pumupunta, wala pang nakakapuntang Pilipino doon, ikaw lang. So, how was that?
Hindi naman.
How was that?
Ngayon, marami na kumakanta doon.
How was that experience?
It was wonderful. You know, I don't know if you know that we also did the Philippine Festival. Did you ever hear about that?
Okay.
We were 60 people, 60 Filipinos from here. Singers, dancers, everything, which was brought by the husband of Shirley MacLaine. And he called it the Philippine Festival, where we would show our costumes, our Filipino songs, and I would come in when the Spanish era started here. I was representing that, but it was really wonderful. We stayed there for 4 months.
Ang tagal.
2 shows a night at the Dunes Hotel.
Wow, wow. And,
We really wanted to bring it out.
okay, so of course, Miss Pilita,
Yes.
of course you look like a
Yes.
Caucasian, mukha kang European.
Ay.
What's the reaction of people learning that, you're from the Philippines? What's the reaction? Kasi,
Yeah. Well, because they also know that we have so many Caucasians here in the country. We have so many Spanish people, especially in Cebu. In Cebu, everywhere we go, we speak Spanish already. It's very, pero, it was wonderful because at the time that I went there, the biggest gamblers were Spanish speaking.
okay, mga,
So, they were so happy that I could sing in Spanish to bring in the gamblers from Mexico, from Latin America, because I could sing in Spanish. So, at least, buti na lang.
oo nga. And then, there was the Tokyo International
Music Festival.
Festival. That's another level.
Well, you see, I was already recording with Viva, and it was the first time that the Tokyo Music Festival asked the Philippines to join. So, usually in a competition like that, we prepare a song that is lively and nice, like all the other. We were 32 countries. What I sang was a song by George Canseco, which is a ballad, My Daughter, which he wrote for his daughter.
Yeah.
So my daughter, you will learn. It was a beautiful song, but not for a contest. But that's what was chosen by Viva. So I sang that, and they had translation, so that they could read what the lyrics were saying, and it was just wonderful. I met so many big stars in that contest who represented their countries.
Wow. Pilita, Pilita, no?
Yes.
You've gone through a long career. Ngayon, if you're appearing and going into that stage again, do you still
Yes.
feel butterflies in your stomach?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes. Before you never, let's say, know who. That's why before we start the show, we always look through the curtain. Sino ba nandyan? How many are they? Will they like your songs? Will they like your performance? But it's you always get these butterflies always before you go on stage, which is very good. Because, you cannot enter there. And then you just tell yourself, I can sing. Those people that are watching, they cannot sing. So they have to listen to me.
And
Ganyan na lang I tell myself.
alam mo, Pilita, yung mga shows mo noon, it's now in the YouTube. People can see it.
Meron YouTube.
Yes, people can see it. And you have a rapport with the people. It's a special thing. You talk to the people, you have a rapport to the people. Is that really your style?
Before kasi, when you were singing in the opera house, in the Clover, you come out, you have to sing 3 songs, you just say thank you and no more. But after that, it's wonderful to involve the audience with you. Sometimes I make them sing with me. I pick out someone from the audience, and they love it. They love it. Even if they don't know how to sing, they love it. Just to be on stage and try to sing. So it makes the show better.
Yes. No. And you know, nagugulat ka ba if, for example, you're walking in the shopping mall, people will still greet you and, you know, hihingi ng autograph sa'yo up to the present time. How does it feel?
Walang problema yan, you know. And I'm very honored na, you know, people recognize me, people ask me, oh, I saw you on TV the other night, you know, meron akong mga plaka mo, ang dami kong plakang, yung mga ganun kalalaki, yung 33, you know, and how do you call this? So it's always wonderful to listen na, ay, gusto ko yung kanta mong kapantay ay langit, yung ganyan. So it's very nice to hear, especially those people from abroad. They always like to listen to those songs that medyo luma-luma na.
Meron ka bang do you have any weird fan story? Mga fans mo, may weird story ka ba ng mga fans mo in relation to you? A weird fan story. Meron ba?
Weird!
Yes.
Weird talaga, meron.
Oy, meron ba?
And then I was singing and then I received a letter, no? And then he was a fan, so whatever shows I was doing, Opera House, Clover, and everything. But then I don't know, maybe there was something wrong because he wrote me a letter and told me that we already had a wedding date, that we were going to get married. I had never met him before, you know, so we were going to get married, and we gave a date there, and, you know, 2 weeks from now, he was just a fan that, medyo nasobrahan siguro ng konti.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was able to talk to him. We talked for a while, and then I answered his letters and told him, you know, that he would like to come to Manila because he was from the province. So, mayroong mga incidents na ganyan.
Wow. And do you take care of your throat, your voice? Minsan ba nararamdaman mo, hindi na ako makakanta? Do you do that?
Well, you know, I'm very lucky that I don't get. The only time that is very difficult to sing is if you had no sleep the whole night before the day. Like when you're traveling. That's why I never accept a job wherein I arrive in the place today and sing tomorrow. I always ask for 1 day in between.
Wow. Well, what was the longest program you ever did? Yung pinakamahaba. How long did it last?
Usually kasi before, when you're singing in the hotels, they tell you, okay, the show is 1 hour and a half. But when people request, people are paying, they have dinner there, you know, they just keep on requesting. So sometimes I'm singing there already. Ilang kanta na ba? 18 songs na, tama na siguro yun. But you know what happens? People who watch a concert, they want also to sing. They want to be on stage. So I always call them on stage. That's why, you know, I had a very easy time when Elizabeth Ramsey was still alive, when we would do 2 shows together, because she'd take care of all the people who would come up on stage, and so it was very exciting, but definitely. But you also get some very mean people in the audience. I've had many of those. Somebody asked on stage, you say, "Oh, Pilita," sabi niya, "Ilan na bang boyfriend mo?" Tinanong sa akin on stage, no? So, you know, you have to be very quick also in answering, no? So I said, "Ay, susunod ka na doon. Ikaw na ang next." So, na-quiet siya.
Na-quiet siya. Siguro
You
na-flatter
have to be fast and quick, yeah.
Oh, na-flatter pa.
There are people who want to steal the thunder from you while you're on stage, no? So they want to show na ganyan. Maraming ganun.
Oo nga.
Maraming ganun.
Madaming ganon, ano. And you know, Pilita, now,
Yes.
now, we hear Korean songs, they sing it. Korean. Ano tayo? Nakikinig tayo ng Korean. Tapos nakikinig tayo ng Japanese. Nakikinig tayo ng Spanish. Pero sinasabi ko sa mga tao, but we had Pilita before. He was in a foreign country and he is singing Filipino songs already. And people were clapping. Nauna tayo dyan. Hindi na dapat sa inyo. What can you say about that?
Kasi ang ginawa kasi din, yung mga recording companies, they would get a Japanese song, a Korean song translated into Tagalog, and then they would record it here.
Oo nga, yes.
Yun ang mga umpisang mga hit songs, Japanese, Korean, pero adaptation.
Pero yung sayo talagang using Visayan and Filipino song to foreigners.
Yes.
Our own.
Yes, that's right.
And give us yung thought process doon. Natatakot ka ba? Baka hindi ako maintindihan But you did it nevertheless. How do you feel about that?
No, I always have of explaining that. You see, I was fortunate that I could speak Bisaya, Tagalog, Spanish, and English. So, whatever they requested, meron ako. So I was lucky that I could do this, because you cannot just go out there. That is why the thing I did with Sammy Davis, because then we found out later, Sammy was saying, the biggest gamblers in Las Vegas were Spanish speaking. That's why they brought me there. They were the high rollers.
Yes, high rollers. Oo.
So, yes, that's right. Yes.
And going back to the previous years
Yes.
mo, Pilita, I don't gusto ko lang tanong sa'yo before it escapes my mind. In high school, when did you realize I want to be a singer? I want to dedicate my life to this kind of life. When did that occur to you?
No, I was still in Cebu growing up and going to school in Immaculada Concepcion there. And then there was always a program in the school and everything. Si Pilita, pakantahin natin. My father, who was a manager of a Coca-Cola in Cebu, when all these big bosses from San Miguel would go, I would be the one to sing. So, they would tell, no, my daughter sings very well. So, ako, presentada naman ako. That's high school.
So
I was always there. They would always get, where's Pilita? Why don't you make her sing? So, sanay na ako.
Oo nga. and when you were appearing on TV and
Yes.
movies, things like that, did you watch yourself? I mean, did you assess yourself? Let me see myself. Tingnan ko nga sarili ko. Do you do that?
Well, I used to do that, but when I do that and watch myself, parang hindi ko gusto. You shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have sung that song. Dapat hindi mo in-interview. You shouldn't have asked that question. After that, wag na lang. Wag na lang.
Who is your biggest influence as a singer? Who is your biggest influence as a singer? Or
Are you talking about local or ano doon? Or,
both, local and abroad?
okay, local and abroad. Dito kasi sa local, we have so many wonderful singers that I had a pleasure of singing with, recording with. Abroad, actually, my favorite singer abroad was Matt Monroe.
Oh, okay.
You remember Matt Monroe?
Yes. He came here. In the
Yes, I sang with him
here.
at the Araneta because the Filipinos loved him because of the type of songs that he would sing. Born Free, all those meaningful songs, no? So, it was really wonderful.
So
Sayang lang.
So nung nakatandem mo si Matt Monroe, how did it feel? Idol mo na yan. And you were singing with him.
Oo! Nanginginig na yung tuhod ko when he called me on stage. We were at the Araneta because he became very popular here with his songs. He was a very nice person, But since part of the management that brought him. My brother was part of the management that brought him to the Philippines to perform. So I was able to be with him for a while, talking, having dinner and lunch, you know. But he was that's why I was saying, the talented that they are, let's say, the more talented they are, the nicer they are.
And imagine what experience, no? You've been with Sammy Davis, Matt Monroe.
Yes.
Sino pa? Who else? Who else na
Ay, marami.
madami na?
Ang dami. Because, you know, if they came here, I was either the front act or... So there's always, pero most of the people who came to the Philippines at that time, they always you have to have a local artist to open. So if it was not me, it was Leonidas Maturan, it was all those singers before. And then what was nice is you got the chance of singing a duet with the performer. And the more talented they are, the nicer they are. Yung walang masyadong talent, magulo.
Okay. Pilita, we'll just have a gap.
Yes.
And ang tatanungin ko sa iyo after the gap is your transition from singing to movies. Just stay put and we'll just come back with Pilita. Sandali lang po.
Okay.
The Presidential Task Force on Media Security is relentless in pursuing its mandate to protect the life, liberty, and security of media workers. In safeguarding press freedom, the Philippines established a world record of 49 convictions on cases of media violence, including 31 in the Ampatuan massacre case. It was also the biggest mover in the CPJ's Global Impunity Index. Safeguarding press freedom is a Duterte legacy, a legacy of your PT phones.
Nagbabalik po tayo sa ating espesyal na panauhin ngayong gabi, si Miss Pilita Corrales.
Thank you. Thank you.
That transition from singing to the movies, kinaya mo rin.
Yes.
You hurdled it. You talagang, nothing is impossible. I'll do it. So, how was that? How was that transition?
It was a little difficult for me because when I came back from Cebu, I didn't speak Tagalog. I only spoke Bisaya, English, and Spanish. So when we were doing live shows in the Opera House, I became the comedian because they would give me Tagalog lines that I couldn't read. No, so sabi ko, masarap pala itong comedian na ito. So now, you know, nowadays, if you do a show, you cannot just sing. You have to entertain them, make them laugh a little bit, make them sing with you, and then, you know, all that I learned while doing live shows at the Opera House, Clover Theater, and abroad. And
Ngayon, these days, Pilita, what makes you happy? What makes you happy? Aside from singing, of course. What makes you happy?
Hobby?
Happy.
To tell you the truth, I don't have hobbies.
No.
No. What I do is I like to listen to new material because I'm always thinking of, you know, I need a new song here, ipa-areglo ko. So I listen to the music that I think people will like if you're on stage.
Okay, talking about...
Because sometimes all these mga, I don't know, last year or something, wala kang makukuhang kanta din eh. All the songs were not, hindi naman masyadong maganda for me.
ano yung mga kantang gusto mo ngayon? What are the songs that you like ngayon? For example.
Ngayon, you need to say songs from today.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, ang ano kasi, mahilig kasi ako sa ballads.
Okay.
I like ballads. I like, let's say, you know, we also do a lot of inspirational songs because they ask for it. like I Believe, You'll Never Walk Alone. Usually I use those in the concerts pag medyo even in abroad, we also use that. But our local, tayo kasi we're very, how do you call this? Talagang whatever is popular abroad, popular na dito. Because the music here, the Filipino is such a good musician and listener that we are always ahead of everybody else. Dito, top tune na tayo dun. Nag-uumpisa pa lang.
Yeah. Teka, balik ako dun sa movies. What was your favorite movie na ginawa mo? What favorite movie do you think you did? Anong favorite movie na ginawa?
For me, my favorite for me,
Yes. Yung ginawa mo.
Miss Wawaw.
Miss Wow, okay. Ikaw ba
Miss Wawaw. Yes.
what's that story?
And then they would make me, Wawaw, Miss Wawaw was a comedy. I was a poor girl, sampagita yata yun or something, And it was very fun to make. Hindi naman kasi ako dramatic, hindi naman ako marunong magdrama. Basta comedy, okay.
And alam mo, Pilita, that's another thing, You see a set of
Yes.
people becoming famous because umaarte sila, and yet you're just there, also parallel, becoming famous, pero you're doing something else. That's special. That's very special.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Meron ka ba mga
You know
backer
what?
nun? Or may mga backer ka ba nun? May mga supporter ka ba nun? May mga, what do you call? Mga backers, etc. Yung mga ganon?
Wala naman eh.
Wala. Ikaw lang.
Yung mga backers, wala. Meron ka lang fans, especially after I started your evening with Pilita. Then we would get, hundreds and hundreds of letters. Can you sing this? Can you sing that? The request portion. But actually, okay lang naman.
Oo. And now, Pilita, your family
Yes.
is growing and nag-aartista na rin ang mga apo mo, yung anak.
Yun na nga eh.
What do you feel about that? And alam mo, kamukhang-kamukha mo Kamukhang-kamukha mo yung mga picture nila nung bata ka.
Si Katalin. Well, in the beginning, when they were growing up, they said, ay, Mamita, they call me Mamita. I don't want to be in show business. I don't want to, that's when they were maybe 10 or 12. And then when they were 14, 15, they said, Mita, I think I want to go to show business. So I never forced them. If you want to, and try it. If you like it, then stay. And that's what's happening to Janine. Yeah. So, ganun lang. O dami namin, no?
Ang dami, yeah. How many, ilan na ba grandchildren mo? Or children mo? Wow.
Children ko is 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren.
Wow. Talaga.
Isn't that wonderful?
Very wonderful. Maybe that makes you happy.
It's so nice.
Oo, sumasaya ka dahil siguro sa every Christmas, talagang parang piyesta. Piyesta dyan sa inyo.
Oo nga. Just with my kids, and then the grandchildren, puno ka na.
Teka.
And one of them is already singing also, The Son of Munching, for Janine is in the movies also, and so, parang they're following in the footsteps of the mother and the father.
How did they know? How did they know that their grandmother was a very famous person? How did they know that?
You know what happened is, when I was traveling a lot, I used to bring the children with me. I took them to Las Vegas with me. They would watch the shows and everything. And Janine, who was the eldest of the grandchildren, she was only about 2 or 3, and I would bring her on stage in Las Vegas at the Dunes Hotel, and I would bring her out there and introduce her to the audience. Look at Janine now. So, sanay na sila. That, that this is my life. This is That sounds like a song. This is my life. This is my business. This is where I get to earn and help.
Wow, ang ganda, no? Ang ganda. So parang self-realization nila. Oh, that's what grandma is doing. And do you advise? What advice do you give them? Like for example, Janine, what advice do you give her?
Yes, in the beginning kasi sabi niya, no, Mita, I don't want show business when she was about 14 or something, And I never said, okay, it's up to you. I knew that one of these days she was going to tell me, oh, I have an offer for this movie, I have an offer. Then she's very intelligent yan eh. Dean's Lister yan sa Ateneo.
Wow.
Very, very good. But now she's very happy. But then they also learn that without my singing, I couldn't have helped my family and my brothers and sisters through school without singing.
Oh, that's enough.
So they all graduated. They also, that's a big thing for me.
Wow, that's
Lahat sila nakatapos just with my singing, and traveling.
And how is Jackie Lou and Monching? Dalawang anak mo. How are they?
Oh, they're fine. They're fine. They also come here on Sundays. Monching has, of course, 4 children. And Jackie has ilan? 3, no? Si Jackie? Also 4, no? 3. Jackie has 3 children. I go to visit. You know what happens nowadays? I go to visit them. Because if I wait for them to visit me, mapapagod ako maghintay. They're always busy.
Parang may appointment sa mga anak, no?
Oo, di ba? Oo nga eh.
Pilita, I just want to ask you something, This is, kamukha yung mga
Yes.
singers ngayon. Alam mo, may mga singers ngayon, they use, have you heard of auto-tune? Auto-tune? Isang microphone that could reshape your voice. Kahit na sintonado ka, yung microphone na yon, ginagawang ayos yung singing mo. What do you think about that?
Saan ba nabibili yun?
Madami na yan sa labas. Di ba? So what
You know why, If you go to if you're a recording artist, you go to the studio, there are times that medyo may flat ka ng konti, may sharp in one word in the song. So you just repeat and repeat. Nowadays, it's just one button. And it goes back to the right key, goes back to the right note.
Yes.
That's why it's very easy. The singers nowadays are very lucky when they're recording ganun.
Pero don't you think na medyo na-hijack yung talent? Kasi alam mo naman, you have to improve. You have to know whether you are flat or not flat, whether people like you or not.
Yes.
That's the downside of
But
it.
nowadays, you also know, na flat yata ako dyan, desentolado yata ako dyan. When you listen to it after recording a few lines, ulitin natin yan, hindi maganda, I'm a little flat, which happens to many singers. Maybe they're tired, or walang boses, or mahirap din. Pero nowadays, it's one click.
Oo nga.
It goes back to the tune.
Yes. Look, Pilita.
They're very lucky. Yes, sir.
Having gone through your career, your journey, and it was spectacular, who do you think? I will just ask you something. Sino
Yes.
sa tingin mo
Okay.
ang susunod na Pilita Corrales?
Naku, ang dami!
Dami.
We have so much talent in this country. You don't, there are so many. Of course, depending na lang on what type of songs they sing. Because we have so many good composers that are writing beautiful songs. Because before, syempre, yung mga kundiman, yung mga, because I could sing in Bisaya, I could sing in pero nowadays, they're also lucky.
They're very lucky, pwede,
And now, you know what? You do, let's say you're recording today. Before you will record, you record the whole song.
yes.
After that, you listen to it. Dito hindi maganda. Now, you can record word for word.
Yes.
So let's say, hindi maganda yung word, ulitin natin because of the technology of the recording.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
And now, Pilita, no, if you are lucky,
Yes.
kumanta ka lang sa YouTube, you probably can be an overnight sensation.
Kakanta ako sa YouTube. Pwede ba yun? Anong kakantahin ko? English. Sige nga. Kunin mo na yung telepono ko, kakanta tayo sa YouTube.
Pero mga
Surely.
ganyan ngayon, may mga ganyan ngayon.
Because many people are discovered like that, isn't it?
Yes, many people.
Yeah.
Like for example,
Right.
Arnel Pineda, who guested in
Right.
the show. Di ba sabi niya, Dean Mel, I was just discovered in YouTube. Really? Sabi niya,
Can you imagine? Yeah.
they are looking
Galing!
for a substitute sa
Oh,
journey. And they spotted me. So sabi niya, ganon. So do you think our music industry is very promising?
I can tell you that it was very promising maybe last year or the year before last. It was really picking up already, no? But as you know now, you don't buy records anymore.
Yeah.
You don't buy CDs. Before kasi, you buy the long play because the artists will sign, which I do a lot. You know, they bring me if I do a concert, ay, pirmahan mo itong long play mo na wala na ngayon. You know, it's a different na ngayon eh. Pero there are, let's say for example, I travel and go to the States and do concerts. That's what I keep on signing. They still want the vinyl.
Yeah, that's
Ano ba yun? 33.
33, 45, 33, and 45. Bumibili ko na.
145. Oo.
Yes. Nabutan
That's
ko yun.
right.
Pilita, we have what we
Yes, sir.
call a Dean Mel Challenge. We will challenge
Oh,
you
really?
to sing something.
Okay.
This is the Dean Mel Challenge. Okay.
Oh.
Pilita, this is what we will
What do you want me to do?
we will ask you to sing. We will flash some songs and we will ask you to sing if you can these modern songs. Eto.
Aba!
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Baka hindi ko naman alam.
Oh, alam mo yan siguro. All right.
What
let's
song,
go.
for example?
Okay, what's the first song? Bang Bang.
Bang, bang. Yun ang bang, bang kanina. No? Akin ang lyrics yun. Bang, bang. That is from Ariana Grande, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
The song? Diba? Oo. You know, at least these songs are nice. You can do this as part of your repertoire when you're doing concerts, you know, because they're nice. It's nice to, because there are songs na hindi rin,
Ayan.
bang, bang, into the room. Ganun ba yun?
Yun.
Bang, bang, bang. Oh,
Kayang-kaya pala. Kayang-kaya.
ganyan na lang. Dapat.
Number 3.
Yes.
Forever is not enough.
Forever's not enough. Or do I have the lyrics? This is the Song of Sarah, no?
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful song. Yeah, forever's not enough. If I could be... Salamat. Ito ba yung lyrics?
Sa chorus na.
Sa chorus? Where is the chorus? Okay, there. If I could, if I could have to live my life again, I'd stay in love with you the way I've been. You know the something that yun ang mga kanta. Yes. Now, it's time for you to sing.
Teka. This is my special
Duet.
request sa'yo. You know, my favorite Spanish song, Pilita, my favorite
What
Spanish
is-
song is Historia de un Amor at tsaka
Which one?
Sabor a Mi. Sabor a Mi.
Nice, yeah.
Can you sing Sabor
Ya
a
no
mí?
estás para mi lado, corazón, y en el alma solo tengo soledad. Y si ya no puedo verte, porque Dios me hizo quererte para hacerme sufrir más. I can't hear you.
Siempre fuiste
Siempre fuiste la razón
de mi existir.
de mi existir. Adorarte para mí fue religión.
En tus
Y en
besos
tus besos yo encontraba el calor que me brindaba, el amor y la pasión. What was the other song?
es la historia de...
Sabor.
Sabor a mí. Sabor a mí.
Yeah.
Sabor a mí.
Tanto tiempo disfrutamos de este amor, nuestras almas se acercaron tanto así, que yo guardo tu sabor, pero tú llevas también sabor a mí. These are really nice.
Su presencia es tu vivir. Basta
Eso, good.
con abrazarte y conversar. Tanta vida yo te di.
Yo te di que por
fuerza sabor
sabor a mí. O coros, no pretendo
ser
ser tu dueño.
no
No soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad.
de mi vida. Doy
That's
lo
right.
bueno.
Doy lo bueno.
Soy tan pobre.
Soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar.
Pasará
Pasarán más de 1000 años y muchos más. Yo no sé si tendrá amor
la eternidad.
la eternidad.
Pero ya tan como aquí, en la boca llevarás
Llevarás sabor a mí. Galing!
Galing. Bésame mucho. Yan, my favorite. My favorite.
Okay, bésame. May partner ka ba dyan to dance? Wala.
Bésame mucho.
Okay. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo
a
tenerte
perderte
después.
Quiero tenerte
Galing.
muy cerca, mirarme en tus
Continue.
besos. Junto a mí.
Yan.
Kalimutan ko. Quiero tenerte muy cerca,
Cerca, mirarme en tus ojos y estar junto a ti. Piensa que tal vez mañana
yo ya estaré
estaré
muy lejos.
muy lejos de aquí.
Wow!
Tapos besam. Thank you.
Teka, Pilita. Do you know
Yes.
at my back is the Beatles Ito yung Beatles ko. What's your favorite Beatles song? Ayan. What's your favorite Beatles song?
Okay. Ha? Ano yung natin? Huh? Yes. Well, one of my favorites has always been Yesterday.
Wow!
Yesterday. When I do shows, I do a Beatles medley. I put 4 or 5 songs of the Beatles and then into a medley and then we sing it. Because they had beautiful songs. Talaga naman.
Yesterday. Just a small sample lang ng Yesterday.
Sana malaman ko. You're singing with me. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. But when you got to stay, hindi ko na pinagkanta. Yesterday came suddenly. Why he had to go, I don't know. He wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday.
Galing. Wow. Eto, Pilita,
Yes.
Can you give us 3 principles
Yes.
of mamita? Can you give us 3 principles of life of mamita, of Pilita?
Principles of life.
Yes, that carried
Is
you
that your
all these
question?
years. Yes,
Okay. Principles of life.
yes.
Be humble.
Number 1. Number 2.
Okay? Be humble. Be professional in your career.
Number 2. Number 3.
Oh, walang mga late. Yes. And be open. If anybody comes, turuan mo naman ako ito. Can you teach me how to sing this song? Can you give me this arrangement, which I do a lot? And I do it. Because there are many singers who are starting who cannot afford to make an arreglo. And if they want to sing with a band,
Yes.
tingahan na lang.
Oo, wow. Oo nga eh. Wow, you're such a... what advice? Anong advice mo sa ating mga sikat at hindi sikat na nag-pursue ng career sa singing?
Ay, yung sikat siguro, hindi na kailangan ng advice, no? Just let them continue and continue their career and everything. For those people who are starting, make sure that this is the profession that you want to be in. Kasi it's not easy na, let's say, oh, you want to be a singer, you're a good singer, but you're out every night, you're drinking every night, you're smoking, if you want to be a singer in show business, you have to be very disciplined.
Very, very nice. Pilita, it was
Yes, sir.
it was so nice for you to come over sa show namin. It was an honor, a privilege.
Oh,
and most of
thank
all-
you.
And most of all, it was a joy. It was really a joy to be with you tonight. Maraming salamat.
Thank you. On next time, you will invite me and Jackie and Monching so we can sing a trio.
Of course,
Okay.
of course. Surely,
Okay,
tama,
sige.
pwede yan. Por supuesto, siyempre. Any last message?
Gracias.
Any
Okay, thank-
last message? Last message.
A last message, okay. I hope that people still remember and will remember the songs we recorded, the songs we made popular, because this is really what a singer is all about. Yeah, I recorded that before. No, I recorded that before. But I'm still in the I would like to stick to the good songs, the good lyrics, the good melodies, Spanish, English, or Tagalog, because we have such wonderful composers.
Wow. Thank you very much, Miss Pilita.
Thank you.
Corrales.
You're very welcome. Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Wow, mga kaibigan, it was such a beautiful night tonight. Kulang lang ang oras kay Miss Pilita, sayang. Dapat hinabaan natin 1.5 hours. But anyway, yes, maybe we will have a part 2 of this show. Kaya po, just monitor us. Well, dyan na po nagtatapos ang ating programa ngayong gabing ito. Maraming salamat po. Huwag niyo pong kakalimutan, sa linggo ulit, alas 8 ng gabi, The Dean Mel Show, dito sa 1PH. Kami po, ang boses ng pinagkakaisang Pilipinas. Bye-bye!
See us stronger. Catch the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 from July 23 to August